Hey mamas, welcome to another exciting episode of Confessions of a Small Biz Mama. My name is Kristen Ingram. I am the host of Confessions of a Small Biz Mama. I'm a CPA, I'm a QuickBooks certified pro advisor, and I love helping businesses start and grow and thrive. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about how business is going to change in the post-COVID era. This is the third episode in this series where we're talking about how to create the life, the business, the family that you want. Now that we've I don't even know if this is really post-COVID, but we're living with COVID. Everything is reopening and moving forward. And so what does that mean for business? So I'm gonna kind of talk about some of my predictions, having 20 years of experience working in business and seeing other downturns and other kind of things happen. I remember 9/11 and what that did for business. And this was a much longer period than 9/11. I remember the economic downturn in in 07, 08, 09. And so let's talk a little bit about what I think the trends are going to be in business going forward, what's going to stay, what's going to go. I think that here's ultimately the thing, right? When businesses go through something like this, they really start thinking about, okay, what did I learn, right? What did I learn from this? What did we do to adapt? And what do we want to keep? Okay. And so I'm going to kind of give some recommendations too for different types of businesses as we're going through. So, I want you to think back on like how your life changed and how the businesses around you adapted to that, or didn't. Okay. So I'll tell you that in Connecticut, where I was for most of the pandemic, a lot of curbside pickup, a lot of like boutiques started doing Zoom sessions or FaceTime sessions where you could sign up for a session. And you could do something like Calendly to do this, or Acuity, or one of the other schedulers, but people could literally schedule a meeting and you would help them, whether it's, pick out a gift for someone. Lots of service providers were doing quotes virtually, which think about it, right? If you're a service provider, and I recommend this for my bookkeepers. If you're a service provider and you're driving from meeting to meeting, client to client to meet with people, that's incredibly time consuming. Whereas when I do these on Zoom, right, and I actually record this podcast on Zoom, I hop out of one meeting, I hop into another meeting. Like, it's really that easy, right? And you can even keep the same link all day and just say, just have a waiting room. Oh, my next client's in the waiting room. Oh, my next meeting's in the waiting room. All right, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon, right? And you move from appointment to appointment. That is brilliant, right? And think about just the efficiency and the time savings with that. And I think that while we swung to too many Zoom meetings, right? So I definitely think we're going to see fewer Zoom meetings. I think the efficiency of quoting, I honestly think, for a lot of tax accountants, I think you're going to see, at least the younger ones, maybe, I think you're going to see a lot less in-person meetings and more Zoom meetings. I think it's a super easy platform to use. It's funny because I have a client that's like actually coming to see me because I actually have a client in this area. One of my very, very first clients when I started my firm actually moved down here a couple of years ago. And we've been doing his taxes distance. And now I actually, like, he lives 15 minutes from me, which is pretty cool. So they're coming over today. That is like one of 3 paper tax returns I printed this year. Everything I did was digital. And this is not something that is new for us. This is something that my firm has done since it started. But I think we are going to continue to see digital business, digital signatures. And I think that technology is only going to get better. I think delivery is only going to get better, and delivered everything, right? Food. I want to see more on-demand cupcakes. Is it just me? I don't know. I want to see like more dessert delivery. I want to see more. I know, right? In like the last episode, I just talked about how I'm getting healthier, and I'm talking about cupcakes in this episode, folks. Okay, I'm telling you. So, but that's one thing I noticed is there seemed to be like a huge hole in the market for like sweets delivery. Okay, so that's one thing. But I did see a lot of bakeries do curbside pickup, at least in Connecticut. So that was the thing. Okay, which I did really appreciate. I did. I think we're going to see, one thing that I hope to see is I hope that restaurants will continue to do family style meals. And I think that's going to happen because when we move to Florida, where things are much more open, we still see a lot of that. There's still a lot of family meals that you can get for takeout. So I hope that that continues, because I think for a lot of families, it's expensive, especially when you bring kids out. Kids meals are super expensive. And so to be able to like pick up a family meal that everybody can eat from, and that is, that's a balanced meal. So it's an entree with some vegetables, a carb, maybe a salad, maybe some rolls, and be able to fill your, feed your entire family for like $30 is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so I'm seeing a lot of restaurants doing that. I hope that stays. I think it will. But that's one thing I think that's wonderful that came out of COVID. I think we're going to see, I think in the conference space, I think we're going to continue to see the virtual ticket as an option. I think that, I think promoters and people who do conferences have realized that there's a large market out there of people like moms that find it really hard to get away, but would love to be able to participate. So to have that option to say, you know what, we're going to allow you to attend live or attend virtually is fantastic. And I really believe that is going to continue. We're seeing that with a lot of conferences, even conferences that are booking into next year, that are giving that option. So I think that's fantastic, and I hope that stays. But I also think that the extroverts want to get together. The extroverts are ready, right, to start networking, to get out there, to go to conferences. And so I think you're going to see good conference numbers in 2021, but then I think they're going to scale back a little bit. I think right now there's a lot of pent up income right now. And I think that with the advanced child tax credit coming this month, I think we're going to see more. I think we're seeing more money, more money going out there. And so I think there's a lot of pent up demand and spending. I think we're going to see a rush, and then we're going to see a pullback. Okay. Especially if those child tax credit advances stop in January. We're going to see a pullback after that. And I think even in business, we're going to see people like, I want to go out. I want to see people. Okay, wait, I got to stop spending money. Right. And so we're going to initially see this like big push of money come into the economy. And then I think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. And I don't know if it's going to be like a recession size pullback, but I think in comparison to the money that's going to be coming out in the next 6 months, like I said, especially with that advanced child tax credit, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my page, facebook.com/all Kristen Ingram. And I did a video on the advanced child tax credit. And so you can watch that. But that money coming into the economy, I think is gonna make a huge impact on the economy. Okay. But I think initially you've got, and we're seeing this like in travel, the amusement parks are seeing this, the hotels are seeing this, huge pent up demand all coming at the same time. And then I think that once people kind of get that out of their system, then I think there's going to be a pullback. I think that local business is going to continue to do well as long as it keeps serving its customers and what they want. Okay, so I know a lot of local businesses, like I was talking about a couple minutes ago, that adapted really well, that really upped their social media game. And now they're like, okay, cool, everything's open. I don't need to do this anymore. Don't do that. You've got to stay in the social media game. You've got to keep, inviting people into your store, reminding people that you're there, keep doing the videos that you were doing, keep doing the updates. I think a lot of people, a lot of small business owners are like, okay, great, it's over. People are just naturally going to come in. And I think people kind of took this opportunity to say, hey, do I really like the service providers I'm working with? Or do I want to work with somebody else? This person, I see them out there on social, they're, reminding me about their services. And the person I go to isn't. Right. And so people might have made the switch and they're just not going to automatically come back. So I think there's just kind of this natural inclination that, okay, I don't have to keep doing the social. I don't have to keep doing the push. You do. I think social is more important than ever. I think through the pandemic, people realize that they have a lot of options, that they have, there's options out there now, that they may not have realized before. And I think it's funny because it's like, you don't realize like how many salons are in your town until, somebody in the moms group says, hey, I'm new to town and I need a haircut. And the flood, right, of, oh, I go to this person, I go to that person, I go to this person. And then you start going through Facebook pages and you're like, oh, wow, that looks really nice. Oh, that's a nice job. Oh, that's great. And you just kind of start to see what else is out there, right? And so I think during the pandemic, people were so desperate for connection that we saw people like rushing to social media to connect to like local Facebook groups and things like that. And I know, I've talked to some moderators in Facebook groups, and they've said like the local groups have just grown tremendously during this process because people wanted to stay connected to their communities and what was going on and what was open and what was not open. And especially like too, there's been an unprecedented number of people moving. And so we're seeing lots of people relocating around the country, and in that, they want to connect to their new area. And so lots and lots of growth in Facebook, which also means that it is important for you as a small business owner to make sure you're connected to your local groups, because it's a great way for you to connect with new people, to connect with existing people, and frankly, just be a part of your community, right? So I think that the importance of those Facebook groups, and also Nextdoor. If you're not on Nextdoor, that is... it's a really phenomenal place to be if you're a business owner. because it allows you to connect with people. It's all like Nextdoor is almost like a giant local Facebook group. It really is. And just by putting in your address, you get connected in with the neighborhoods around you. So it's not a good national networking tool, but if you want to network locally, Nextdoor is fantastic. I also know some people who are having really good luck with Alignable as well, which is like business to business networking. And so that might be something that you want to check out also. And that's not that you can do more national. Okay. So I think that I think online networking is definitely still here. It's not going to go anywhere. But I think that as things continue to open, you're going to see more people wanting to network locally. And so, I'm starting to see meetup groups that are popping up. If you're on Meetup and you haven't been on in a while, go check out. There's lots of new groups popping up as people are craving connection. I'm really hoping that the civic groups use this as an opportunity to recruit. I know a lot of the civic groups, and when I talk about that's like the Lions Club, the Elks Club, the Kiwanis Club, Civitan, the JCs, which is a junior chamber of commerce. I think all of these groups were really, really struggling before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic hit. And now they're trying to figure out like what their memberships look like. I know a lot of these groups that had buildings that are selling them because they just couldn't sustain the membership. And listen, if you are younger and you are looking to meet people, or you've got a group of friends that are looking to help out in your community, go check out one of these groups. They have, there's a lot of business owners in these groups. There's a lot of knowledge in these groups. It's like a natural kind of mentoring sort of situation. It's a great way to help your community. They do lots and lots of fundraisers. They do lots of good things in your communities. I just think that they just kind of always relied on like, people are going to come and they're going to want to join. They're going to see us in the community and people are going to want to do this. Right. And that's kind of how they recruited. And that's not working anymore. And so I'm hoping that these groups, use the people's desire to start networking again, to start having community again, as an opportunity to grow. Okay. And if you're looking for that, go check out your local civic groups and see what's available in your area, because they do so much good behind the scenes that you don't really see. And unfortunately, these groups are dying out. And so I think that's one thing, to check out. I'm also interested to see how chambers, come out of this. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, a lot of chambers just kind of sat there and waited. And they didn't do a good job supporting their business members during the pandemic. And it'll be really interesting to see if the businesses continue to support them. Because I know a lot of people did not feel supported by their chambers during this. Okay. And so I think some of the local chambers need to kind of hold their hats and eat crow and apologize that they were not there as much as they could have been. And that's my personal opinion from just looking, watching chambers around the country. And if you've got a great story about your local chamber, I'd love to hear it. But kind of watching what chambers were doing they weren't doing a lot publicly to help support the businesses in their area. So that will be interesting. Interesting to see what happens with those. I think that I think a lot of younger people, a lot of millennials who are very entrepreneurial are sitting there going, I want something different. I want something that's exciting. I want something that's going to teach me and help me grow. And, the problem is sometimes when you go to these chamber events, you're like, okay, let's learn about social media. And they're teaching social media tactics to people who are older. And it's typically they have like older speakers that come in. And this isn't always, but this is generally what I'm seeing. And millennials are coming in and going, we know all this stuff already. Like, this is not anything that's helpful. Like, we need like new strategies, or the stuff that is being taught is out of date. And so I think what we really need to see, and I'm hoping that we see, is I'm hoping that a lot of these millennial business owners, right? And I'm like right on the cusp. It depends on who you ask. I'm like part Gen X and part Gen Y. So I'm kind of like right there. I'm really hoping that, that millennials kind of step up and say, okay, it's our time now. Okay. We're going to step up. We're going to show people how it really is. Okay. Because I see, especially in like local groups, I'm seeing so much like bad information out there, especially when it comes like social and technology and it's like, guys, you've been given the same recommendations for 15 years. Stop. Right. It's like, seriously, there's better technology out there. And so we need folks to step up. And I think especially after the pandemic, I think a lot of people are sitting there going, okay, now what? Like, now what do I have to do? And they're going to need guidance and they're going to need help. And so we need people to step up and provide that. Okay. And that's, that's my bookkeepers, that's my social media folks, that's my, my virtual assistants. Like, listen, the average small business owner, I know that like a lot of the virtual assistants are networking online. If you are a virtual assistant, an online business manager, any of those things, you need to get yourself in front of some local people and go, hey, look, do you need like 5 to 10 hours a week of help? This is how I can help you. Because there are people in the online space that understand what you do. There's a lot of people in the online space that don't understand what you do. And they think that to get help, they need to hire an employee. And so I think it is critically important for all of us in business support services, right? And those are your bookkeepers, your VAs, even like those of you that do like website maintenance, like all that stuff. You need to get out there and you need to explain to people how you can help them in a way that they can afford. Because most people are thinking, if I get a bookkeeper is going to cost me thousands of dollars a month because I'm going to have to hire an employee. They don't understand that they can hire someone, like somebody coming out of bookkeeper training school, for maybe a couple $100s a month that will help them with their bookkeeping and getting everything caught up on a monthly basis so that they actually have numbers to work with. And if you're a business owner and you just went, I can get a bookkeeper for like a couple $100, we have a hire form. Okay. If you're looking for a bookkeeper, go to bookkeeperhireform.com or go to smallbizmama.com. And up at the top, it says bookkeeper, and you can bring down the menu and there's a hire a bookkeeper option. Fill out our form. We'll connect you with QuickBooks certified bookkeepers that can help you with your business. But this doesn't have to be hard. And I think we need to, as we're so used to being in the online space for most of you, we need to get out of the online space and actually explain to people what we do. Okay. And create those relationships. I did episodes earlier this month, that all business is national and all business is local. And I think we need to tap into both of those especially as things reopen. So if you didn't listen to those episodes, go back and check those out. All right. So I hope my rambling was helpful, because really it was just a lot of rambling and it was kind of thoughts that I was coming up with. I want to know what you think business is going to look like in the next year, right? Do you think the economy is going to grow? Do you think it's going to shrink? What is networking going to look like? What are conferences going to look like? What is just like networking in general, right? What is that going to look like? Okay. So again, thank you so much for listening. Share this episode with someone you know. Go to smallbizmama.com, click on any of the episodes and click one of our share buttons. We love when you pin us. We love when you post us on Facebook. We love when you tweet about us. So share an episode and help people find us. All right. So thank you so much again for listening. And hey, mamas, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Mama with Kristen Ingram. If you'd like to learn how to create more margin in your life, please visit us at smallbizmama.com. That's smallbizmama.com.